When you needed a cell phone,
Correct.
you didn't have sufficient credit to get one yourself, and Ms. Ha said that she would get one for you, as long as you agreed to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
She got a second phone on her account, or was this an account that you had solely for him?
No, it was already, and he took it over.
It was already in existence.
Mm-hmm.
And then you started a business.
Correct.
And you didn't have an office, per se, so that your cell phone was your office.
Correct. We're a mobile service.
So that you had business cards and stationery printed up, all with the cell phone number on it.
Yes.
What kind of business is this, Mr. Bledsoe?
We manufacture and install a paint protection film for cars. It's otherwise known as a clear bra. It's on the front of the cars to protect them from getting rock chips.
From getting what?
From getting rock chips and damage on the front of the car.
This is a lucrative business?
Yes.
And then the two of you broke up.
Correct.
This is what your lawsuit is about. You say that because Ms. Ha refused to let you keep the number to keep the account going, and you lost the number, not only did you lose a lot of business, but all of the cards that you had printed up and the stationery that you had printed up are no good anymore because you had to get a different phone.
Right.
Explain to me, sir, how this is a lawsuit.
All right. We had broken up in March of 2004, and until December of this past year, I was still paying the cell phone bill, still using the phone. She had contacted me and said that she wanted to get the cell phone out of her name, and I said, that's fine. And the following day, we were going to meet down at the Singular store because I needed her to go in and say it was okay for me to have that phone number. And so she agreed to go down there. She didn't show up that day. Then after we tried to meet and she wouldn't come, and eventually she said, I'm not going to give you the number. My brother, who's also a partner in business, also spoke with her on the phone for about 45 minutes one day trying to see what we could do to maintain this number, and she just refused to do it. We ended up that month of February going 33 days without any business due to not having anybody being able to contact us through the new number.
Mr. Bledsoe, let's say I believe everything that you said to me. What you're complaining about is that she wasn't being a nice person, right?
Correct. Correct. She knew without a doubt that without giving me that number, she knew she would hurt business.
Where is her legal obligation to give you that number?
I guess there's no legal obligation that she had to give me that number.
That's true. But Ms. Ha has a counterclaim. She says you weren't paying the bill.
The very last bill, I did not pay the very last bill.
And what month was the very last bill, Mr. Bledsoe?
The cell phone was turned off in the middle of January, so it would have been the December to January.
When did you get that bill, Ms. Ha?
Well, I received several bills, and I actually agreed to let him keep the phone as long as he paid for the bill. His brother first told me beg, and I said, nope, I'm not going to give him the phone. And I totally refused, and then finally, I said, you know what, you can keep the phone, just pay for the bill. I texted him, I said, you can keep the phone. He even texted me back and said, I appreciate that you're going to let me keep the phone. I thought everything was going to be squared away, he's going to go pay for it. He still didn't pay for it. So
well, let me see the bill.
This is
just the one. Are they all outstanding bills?
No, I'm sorry.
Well, then just give me one thing. I'm getting older by the minute. You owed her $497.57.
Originally, she had said that her mother was going to use that phone. Therefore, when I switched the numbers over, there wasn't going to be any cancellation fee or anything like that. Because she drew it out over a 3-week period of time, not deciding whether she wanted to give me a number or not, then they canceled the phone and they added on a $200 cancellation.
They canceled the phone after 3 months, not 3 weeks.
Had he been paying the bill regularly?
Yes, well, it was never on time, but he was until the last.
Well, why do you think, Mr. Bledsoe, that after she said she would let you keep the phone, she decided against it?
If you like, if I could bring my brother up, because he spoke with her directly about that question.
Your name?
My name's Craig Bledsoe. I spoke to Michelle. She agreed to give the number, and I don't know what her problem was, but all of a sudden she wouldn't do it. And then she would, and then she wouldn't.
Just a second.
Yes.
That's a lie.
Mr. Bledsoe.
Yes.
Try looking at me.
Okay.
This is not an audition for an acting class, sir.
Okay.
Did she ever say to you, you owe a bill?
No.
Is not an answer.
Oh,
Did she ever say to you, you owe a bill?
She never said to me that I owe a bill. Yes, he owes a bill.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, come back to you. Did you ever have a discussion about paying the bill?
Yes.
Well, that's the problem, sir. there was some misunderstanding and miscommunication about paying the last bill.
I had no problem paying the bill and, in fact, offered her money so that we could have that phone because that phone number is so crucial to our business.
Mr. Bledsoe, how many months after you broke up, or she broke up with you? Who broke up with who?
It was mutual.
Mutual. How much after the breakup did this incident occur in December? When did you break up?
In March.
So for a long time, you had the phone.
That's correct.
And for a long time, there was no problem.
Correct. The problem arose when Michelle and I were dating. We had 2 cars repossessed. I felt responsible for it. Therefore, I had told her that I would give her $250 a month towards her car payment as long as I could afford it. Therefore...
What do you mean you felt responsible? Why did you feel responsible?
Because we were living together and I was using the car.
Both cars.
And so therefore...
Go ahead. He was using...
I got him 2 cars, and he got them both repossessed. And countless of that, like credit cards he used to take to strip clubs, everything. And I saw a statement. Yeah.
Not sure.
Just to sit down. Now I don't need you anymore.
Fair enough, but I got a lot to say about her side of the story.
I mean, I would see things on my statements.
So that things started to get nasty before.
Things have been nasty
Is that right?
for a long time.
Before. In any event, Mr. Bledsoe, Ms. Ha has no legal obligation to permit you to keep a cell phone in her name and allow you to keep the number. There is no legal obligation. Being a nice person, she could have done it. She chose not to, even if there wasn't an issue with regard to the final cell phone bill. So you don't have a legal case against her. Moral, maybe, but this is not moral court. It's a legal court. Understood?
Yes.
Very good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That's your printer?
No, that's not my printer.
Do me a favor, Bert. Take a look at the receipt and see if it's the same make and model. Oh, I can't believe I went to law school for this.
And later today,
I felt sorry for her that she was with him.
You know who the only person I feel sorry for right now?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jared Bledsoe says ex-girlfriend Michelle Ha owes for maliciously cutting off his cell phone. Michelle says Jared tried to skip out on the bill.
Now, let's get to your counterclaim. As I said, I'm not deciding whether or not you were nice, you were not nice. All I want to know is how much he owes on the past due phone bill.
$497.
No, that's with the cancellation fee. I want it without the cancellation fee.
$342.48.
Good. $342.48. That's what you owe, sir.
We had brought this, we had had a dispute about printer and a computer, so we had brought that to give to her.
Officer Bird will take care of that. That's your printer?
Can you turn it around, please? No, that's not my printer.
Oh, gosh.
I have a printer. It's a gray and black one, and when I got a computer, it came with it. And then when he gave me back my computer, he never gave me back my printer. And I have the receipt right here.
Do me a favor, Bird. Take a look at the receipt that she has and see if it's the same make and model. Oh, I can't believe I went to law school for this.
That was Lexmark.
Yeah.
Mr. Bledsoe, does this one work or not work?
It works.
Good. Give it to her. Perfect. He owes you $342.48 for his phone bill. There's your printer. Bye. Good luck. Are you back in business?
Yes, we are.
Good. Good luck to you.
Body's excused. You may step out.
I wanted to do this civilly, and he wouldn't take care of it outside. So he likes attention, so I gave it to him.
As moral as she tries to act and she is, what would the moral thing have been to do in that situation?
I just want all ties cut with him.
I just think it's sad that this world's full of selfish people that are ignorant about it.
The next case.
All parties in the matter of Austin versus Atwater Mayfield. Step forward, please.
26-year-old retail salesperson Courtney Austin is suing her former friend, maintenance technician Fred Atwater, and his fiancée, 23-year-old restaurant manager Sylvia Mayfield, for collect calls from jail, gas money, and lost wages. Fred and Sylvia are countersuing for harassment.
Miss Austin.
Yes.
According to your complaint, you and Mr. Atwater dated for a little while. Then he went to jail.
Yes.
Why is that funny?
Because we never dated, Your Honor. It was just only...
I said to her, according to her complaint,
Okay.
the two of you dated for a while and then you went to jail. I didn't think the going to jail part was funny. And while he was in jail, he made a series of collect calls to you.
Correct.
And it went something like this. He would call you and ask you to connect him on a three-way call
Correct.
to this lady here.
Initially, it was his sister.
Well, that's what he told you.
That's what he told me.
But I said, to
Yes.
this lady here,
Yes.
who happens to be his fiancée or girlfriend.
Yes.
Shh. Now, Every time he called you collect, it cost you $2.70.
Correct.
So you want him to pay for that.
Correct.
And then after you found out that he had this girlfriend, somehow you became friendly enough with her so that she asked you to drive her up to jail to pay his bail.
Correct.
And not only did you do that once, you did it twice.
Correct.
And now, Miss Austin, you're bothering me because you want the money back for the collect calls that you accepted and your gas and time when you took her to jail.
That he said he was going to pay for.
Let's go back. You met him when?
He introduced himself by leaving this note on my car.
Okay. Where did he see you?
He works in my complex.
Okay. So it worked. I didn't have to see that. He left a note on your car.
Yes.
You got to know him. According to him, you were friends. According to you, you dated for a little while. What I want to get to is, because I have other things to do today, and this is particularly fascinating to me when women do stupid things, I get frustrated. At first, he told you when he went to jail, by the way, what did you go to jail for?
Child support order.
Drug abuse and hitting her.
Was it a civil commitment or a criminal commitment?
It was civil.
Civil.
You hit her, and that's how
Shut
you got
up,
in
shut
jail.
up! He told you when he called you from jail that the person he wanted you to connect him to was his sister. How many such phone calls did you accept under the assumption that you were connecting him to his sister?
One.
And after that, you heard that it was his girlfriend.
No, I didn't know it was his girlfriend until she called me back trying to figure out who was three-waying the calls for him.
And how many calls had you accepted up until that time?
2 or 3.
And how many did you accept after you knew that she was the girlfriend?
It says here 35.
So, now we know that he's lied to you.
Yes.
And he's in jail.
Yes.
Why would you believe that he's going to pay you for these calls when he's lied to you about who the person is?
He's not from that area. Me just moving from Los Angeles to Georgia, I was trying to put myself in his position, needing a friend. So I was trying to look out for him. It wasn't like I was trying to make him my husband, my man, or anything like that. We were friends. And in that, he told me that he had after I found out he had a girlfriend, and I took her, I felt sorry for her that she was with him.
You know who the only person I feel sorry for right now? Miss Austin. How much did it cost you, all this stupidity of yours? How much in phone calls?
Between 150 and 175.
No. Between 150 and 175 is not an answer when you're in court.
150. $150.
Now, Mr. Atwater,
Yes, ma'am.
who's supposed to pay that $150?
Well, since we were friends, I appreciate the call she did herself for me, but
Why didn't she collect the call?
They ain't
one
have
thing-
a phone at the house.
Quiet.
for one thing, we had a cell phone. We didn't have a household phone then at the time, and we couldn't make collect calls to her. So I thought I would call her, and she was notified before she accepted the call, $270 per call. She had an option to hang
It
up
does
or
not
accept
say that.
If you say one more word, I'm just going to throw you out. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good.
She was opted to either accept the call or not to.
Did you tell her that you would pay her back for
I
these
never
calls?
told Courtney I would pay her. She told me every time I would call her and she do the three-way, she'll tell me to hang up and call right back.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, like you get 15 minutes for $2.70. So after the phone call, the 15 minutes is up, she would tell me to hang up and call right back.
And you would do that?
Yes.
And you,
accept the call every time.
I didn't.
Sorry.
Am I looking in your direction?
No.
Mr. Atwater?
Yes.
Is it your statement to me that you never said to Miss Austin, please do this collect calls because we have no phone in our house, so if you do this for me, I'll pay you back when I get out?
I never told her I was going to pay her.
I don't believe that. See, that I don't believe. That I don't believe. I believe you told her you'd pay her back for the phone calls. That's
Your
one
Honor.
bit of stupidity. You may not have meant it, Mr. Atwater.
Your Honor.
I'm speaking. What did you ever do for her?
I never did anything for her.
That's what I mean. Why in the world?
Because we were friends, Your
I'm
Honor. That's all
speaking.
we were, friends.
I'm speaking. Did Miss Mayfield know that she was your friend?
Not at the time. She was in Miami at the time.
Exactly.
And I did.
Quiet! Just to answer my question. I said, did Miss Mayfield know that Miss Austin was your fiancée? And you said no. That's the only information that I need. Now, as far as taking her to and from the jail, tell me how that came about. Fast!
Basically, he told me that he was going to pay me the money when he got out. She needed to go pay his bail money. She had $500. His employer put up the other $500. I took her to go get the money from the employer. We went. We didn't make it that day. I had to take her back the next day to go pay his bail. They wouldn't release him because he had a drug charge and he had hit her, which is originally why he went to jail. Then we had to go the next day, something about getting his clothes because the county would put him in jail.
You didn't have to do anything.
No, I didn't. I did it out of goodness of my heart.
That's right. So then don't bother me about it if you did it
No,
out of the goodness
he told me he was going to pay me for it. It wasn't like he said he was going to pay me for my trouble.
Ms. Austin, you did not have a contract with Mr. Atwater, and you certainly didn't
I do
have
one right
with
here.
Mayfield.
Yes, I do.
Good, then let me see it. Exactly what I said, Miss Austin. It says you can threaten us all you want. We'll pay for your phone bill. Nowhere does it say that they're going to pay for you taking her to and from jail. I believe that he said to you, if you accept these collect calls, I'll put your hand down. That he agreed to pay for the phone bill, but for nothing else. So that's your claim, $150. Now you have a counterclaim for harassment.
Yes.
Get to it fast.
Okay, and that statement right there, what she has on the second page, that was after she brought the cops to our house. So we put it in writing. The cop told her to go ahead, take it to the courtroom and file the claim. And she did that.
Just a second.
And she did that.
You said here, I'm going to pay you the money for the phone bill. Stop bothering me.
Exactly.
Right.
But she never stopped.
Let's get to your counterclaim. You've got a counterclaim for harassment for $500. I'm going to hear you. 10 seconds or less.
The harassing emails, taking notes to our door, bringing the cops to our apartment complex, where that is not tolerated. We cannot have no kind of commotion going on.
Why didn't you pay her phone bill?
Because I never did tell her that, Your Honor.
I don't believe that. And she was trying to collect a debt. You're not supposed to take advantage of people, Mr. Atwater. Yes. You're not supposed to take advantage of people's feelings and emotions. One girlfriend is in Florida. One friend is here. Friendships usually work both ways. She does a favor for you, you do a favor for her. You did no favors for her. You were a taker. You have to pay her back for the phone. Put your hand down. Are you still bothering them?
No.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $150. Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Thank you.
Parties are excused, Ms. Stefan.
She did it out of spite. That's all it was. That's out of spite. She thought we had something going on when it was just a basic friendship.
No, definitely not. He's not my type.
After I told her that we were going to get engaged or whatever, she had stopped all the calls and started harassing us.
One of those trips where I went to go pick up the money, I drove myself.
She didn't drive herself. I drove her twice.
The second time she did take me, but I also paid for gas and food while we were down there.
She did pay gas money. She didn't feed me. The food was no.
I didn't know her, so I wasn't going to ask her to take me anywhere. That was his friend.
I'm happy with the telephone bill.
I have no hard feeling with Courtney.
I just get satisfaction in knowing he'll be back in jail soon and no one else will take his calls.
Being here today.
You're correct.
It is your claim, Ms. Hoffman, that Mr. Kuhn forged some checks of yours.
Correct.
And also took money out of your daughter's account.
Correct.
In addition to that, he had an accident while driving your car. Mr. Kuhn says, well, he acknowledges that he did forge some checks of yours, but he says that he paid you back that money in restitution by working for you. And he didn't steal as much as you claim he stole. And aside from that, he says your daughter knew all about it. And as far as taking money out of her account, she was aware of that. And as far as the car incident was concerned, your daughter knew he didn't have a valid driver's license. He had a suspended driver's license, so she gave him permission to drive the car, and therefore he's not responsible. Correct?
Correct.
Tell me about the car incident, sir.
I went down to the store. I was driving through the parking lot, and a lady backed out, and she actually bumped into me, and I got out, made sure everything was okay. She said it doesn't look like any damage is done here, and I was all, here's my number, we exchanged numbers, and I said if there's any further problems, call me, and that was it.
Why should she call you if she backed into you?
I just told her to call me because if it was, we wanted to exchange insurance information later on.
I don't understand why she should call you. She backed into you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. I told her, I was like, you know, you backed out. I honked the horn. Basically, everything's all right. There was no damage done.
Was there any damage done to the car?
Yes, there was damage. I have proof that there was damage. And the thing was, he didn't even call and tell me that he backed in. He just What happened was
Can I see the pictures, please?
Yes. The other company called me, and that's how I found out.
The other company called you because she was filing a claim?
She filed a claim, yes.
She filed a claim? How could she file a claim? She, according to him, backed into him.
She said that he backed into her. So I wasn't
Where was
there.
the damage to your car?
Underneath the bumper.
Mr. Coons, when did you notify Ms. Hoffman that there had been this little accident?
I didn't notify her.
Okay. Now let's get back to your defense to this action. Your defense to this action is that you had a suspended driver's license, but your girlfriend knew about it when she gave you the car to go to the store.
Yeah. I was just going to run to the store, get some things at the store, and come right back. Your house is like half a mile from the store.
Why was your driver's license suspended?
For traffic tickets that I failed to appear on.
What kind of tickets?
Like 2 speeding tickets.
And?
And a red light violation.
So you're not a good driver?
I'm a good driver.
No, you're not. They don't take away the license of good drivers.
Yeah.
How many accidents?
Shh. Driving a car on a suspended license is...
Illegal.
That's not something that Christina can wave a wand and do away with. That's only something that you have control over, Mr. Coons.
I didn't think it was a big deal, though, just to run down to the store.
It is a big deal, you idiot. When they say you can't drive, they don't say you can't drive except to go down to the store.
True.
Now, just for my own curiosity, sir, what is it that you had to get that was so important at the store? Insulin?
No.
What?
Just some stuff for dinner.
Your Honor?
Just don't say. Does it look like you're losing? Does it look like you're losing so far? What?
I was going to...
Can I tell you something? Christina.
Yes.
He's still your boyfriend?
Yes.
He's an idiot. Maybe you're an idiot. I don't know if you're an idiot or not, but he's an idiot. And if you're going to hitch your wagon to his star, you're going to have a miserable life.
No, Your Honor.
What? Listen to me, Christina. Your mother's been around for a while,
Yes.
right? You've been married,
Yes, ma'am.
divorced?
Yes.
How many times?
Once.
Once. Been there, done that, couple of times. Been in the family court, years. I got a nose. You hitch your wagon to this star, you're going to have a miserable life. Just think about it. 10 years from now, you're going to say, you know, I appeared before Judge Judy in this silly little case that was on television, and she, put your hand down, and she told me if I hitched my wagon to his star, I was going to have a miserable life. She was right. Just listen to me. I don't know about you. You may be a loser, too. Then maybe you belong together. Maybe 2 halves make a whole. I don't know. But if you certainly don't look it. How much is it going to cost to fix the bumper?
$971.
Good, $971. Now, Mr. Coons, explain to me why you took checks from Miss Hoffman and forged her name and cashed them.
I started hanging out with the wrong crowd, doing some stupid stuff, and I needed a bunch of cash.
Hanging around with a bad crowd doesn't mean you need cash. If you're hanging around with a bad crowd and you buy drugs and owe somebody for money for the drugs, and you need cash for that, otherwise somebody's going to break your knees, that's a reason. So you want to explain to me what you needed this money for?
Basically, I got into drugs, and I needed cash to support it. And then after that...
Were you supporting Christina's drug habit too?
No, I'd never get into that.
Did Christina know you were doing drugs?
Nope.
So she's not very intuitive, right?
Nope.
You managed to conceal that from her,
Yep.
right? How did I know that, Mr. Coons? It's not anywhere in these papers, sir. Did you think that maybe I have a crystal ball?
Yep.
Experience. That's what I'm trying to tell Christina. How much money did he steal from you?
$1,320 out of my account.
I don't care what he took out of Christina's account. If Miss Stupid wants to stay with him, she'll deal with that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What kind of drugs?
Oxycontin?
Why in the world would an attractive girl like you want to hook up with him?
Because I love him.
And later today...
How much child support do you pay for your other child?
None.
Why not?
I do for my other son, as well as I do for Michael while he's staying with his father here.
Don't talk to me with attitude. There's only one attitude here, and that's mine.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Donna Hoffman says her daughter's boyfriend, Daniel Coons, stole money from her and her daughter's bank accounts. Donna says Daniel took the money to support his OxyContin habit.
When did you find out that he took money out of your account?
Maybe a couple weeks or a month later.
Come. Stand up next to your mother, Christina. Here we go. How much did he take out of your account?
I think it was $650.
And you didn't find out that he took the money out of your account until after he took it out?
No, it bounced in my account.
So you didn't know he had done it?
No.
When you confronted him about it, what did he say, Christina?
He told me about it.
Well, what did he tell you?
That he bounced checks in my account.
No, what did he tell you? Come on. You just say to him, where'd you get the money from? Where did you get the checks from? What did you use the money for? Those were the intelligent questions, Christina. And what did he tell you?
He told me what he used it for and why he needed
what?
it. Drugs.
What kind of drugs?
OxyContin.
And after you found out that the checks bounced, did he take any other money out of your account?
No, Your Honor.
Is that right, sir?
Yep.
I just changed my mind. Because, Mr. Coons, in your answer you say that Christina here knew all about it, that she was aware of it. She says she wasn't. You know that?
She put the checks in her account, so that would... she knew about the checks going in her account, but not them bouncing.
Not that there were no funds.
Yeah, exactly.
But you knew.
Yep, I knew.
But you didn't tell her.
Yep.
Well, then you misled me, sir. You misled me in your answer. Your answer suggested that she was a co-conspirator. All right. So let's understand, Christina, who he is. He stole from your mother.
Mm-hmm.
He stole from you. He's a 19-year-old drug addict. He says you don't use drugs. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
Why in the world would an attractive girl like you want to hook up with him?
Because I love him.
The uniformed groans out here, Christina. The uniformed groans out here, Christina.
Your Honor, he's cleaned up also.
What are you doing now, Mr. Coons?
My uncle owns a trucking company. I'm trying to get my Class A license to drive for him.
That doesn't tell me what you're doing now.
Moving. He owns a moving company.
That doesn't tell me what you're doing now.
I'm cleaning my act up. Making money.
So you want to be a mover?
Yeah, a driver.
What are you doing, Christina?
I work at Express and I'm a cosmetologist.
Is that what you want to do?
Hair? Yes, I do.
You living home?
Yes, I do.
Remember to take those pills every morning. Every morning. Maybe you'll wake up in time. Mr. Coons, did you go into a residential drug treatment program?
Yep.
For how long?
10 days.
That's a crash course, sir. That's a crash course. Did the program recommend that you go into residential treatment for a period of 18 months or whatever and stick with it?
Yeah, that's what they recommended, but...
And you decided that you didn't need that. Is that right?
That's right.
And you decided that you didn't need that despite the fact that you had stolen from Miss Hoffman, you stole from your girlfriend, you have half a dozen unresolved driving infractions, you had an accident with her car. All of those things don't suggest to you that maybe the professionals that told you a 10-day crash course doesn't make it. When you are so addicted to drugs, maybe instead of fooling around, you should go into a residential drug treatment program. But you knew better than the professionals, is that right?
Yeah.
Good girl, Christina. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,941. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The bank called me and said this doesn't look like your signature, so I, of course, called him up and said, hey, what's going on?
She couldn't believe it. And then I was like, you know, I had to admit it right there.
I was saying, you know what, I think something's wrong. I think he's on drugs, and we started drug testing him, and he actually admitted to it.
I want to get married and have kids and do everything, you know, stay clean. do the right thing.
Yes, us has been together for a very long time.
I would really hope that he would clean up, but I've told her that, you know what, once they're never going to change.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of McLean versus Clark. Step forward, please.
Meat cutter Michael McLean is suing the mother of his son, nurse Lachelle Clark, for the return of child support. Michael says money was taken from his paycheck while their son was living with him.
Mr. McLean, you and the defendant have a son together.
Yes, I do, ma'am.
And it is your claim that your son was living with you for a period of time at his mother's request.
Yes, ma'am.
And during that time, they were taking child support out of your check.
Yes.
And Miss Clark knew that the child was living with you, and she was the only one that could stop this child support
Yes, ma'am.
payment. She did not, and you want her to pay you back the money that you sent, or that was taken out of your check, for your son while he was living with you.
Yes, I wanted her to stop it immediately.
And Miss Clark says, well, it was only temporary, and she was providing some things for him also.
Yes.
Right? Okay. How old is this child?
He's 11.
And why did he go and live with his father, Miss Clark?
He went to live with his father because at the present time, my landlord went up on my rent $300 because I had lost.
You were having a problem with housing.
Excuse me?
You were having a problem with housing?
Yes.
All right, that's the bottom line.
Michael McLean says the mother of his son, Lachelle Clark, accepted child support payments after their son started living with him.
So when did you call Mr. McLean and ask if he could take your son?
Around the 1st of January when I first started having my housing problem.
And when did he actually go to live with his father?
The 28th of January.
Is he still there?
Yes.
And how much is the child support order, Mr. McLean?
I want to say $272
a month.
What do you do for a living, Mr. McLean?
I'm a meat cutter, meat manager.
How many children do you have?
I got 3.
Do any of them live with you? You have to think
no.
about that? None of them live with you?
No.
Do you pay child support for any other children?
Yes, I do.
And what do you do for a living, Miss Clark?
I'm a nurse.
How many children do you have?
2.
Well, I know one is living with Mr. McLean. Where is the other child?
The other one is with his father also.
How much child support do you pay for your other child?
None.
Why not?
What do you mean? Because me and him have an understanding. This thing right here,
just listen to me. Listen to me very carefully, Miss Clark.
I do for my other son, as well as I do for Michael while he's staying with his father here.
Well, listen to me. Don't talk to me with attitude. There's only one attitude here, and that's mine.
Oh, well.
Listen to me very carefully, madam. There's only one attitude here. And Officer Byrd will tell you that that attitude is mine. So let me give you a primer course in parenting. When 2 people have a child, it is the responsibility of both parents to support them. So that if while your son is living with his father and you buy him things, clothes.
And anything else he needs.
Just a second. Clothes, doctor's visits, extra school activities, sneakers, right? That's what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
You're also supposed to be responsible for your child's portion of his rent, gas, electric, food, telephone. That's what his father is taking care of. He's not supposed to be sending you money so that you can spend his money on clothes for your child. That's money that you're supposed to be paying out of the money you make from being a nurse. So when your son went to live with his father, the child support should have terminated. The truth of the matter is, while your son is living with his father, you should be paying his father child support. And if you're not paying child support to the father of your other child, when your other child's living there, you're doing the wrong thing too. So let's figure this out. There are 4.3 weeks in a month times 4. Oh, got to turn it on first. 4.3 times 4. No, that's wrong.
Can I have it?
Yeah, you figure it out.
His child support was stopped in April.
What?
His support was stopped in April. We went to court about this matter.
It was stopped in April.
8, 408.
April 8th, so we just need 2 months. So it's 272 times 2. $544.
That's right.
Where do you get $1,136 from?
I must have underestimated the cost of it, but I also wanted to where I had to go file for court.
I'm sure she had to go. I'm sure she had to go.
No, you don't.
Don't speak to each other. You want to speak to each other? You do that outside. Here, you only speak to me. Okay. So let's say you had him for an additional 3 weeks. It's approximately $150. That would be $694 that you paid for support while he was living with you.
Yes.
Is she paying child support now? Did she pay you any child support in April or May?
No, she hasn't.
Got away with murder. What you should have done is when you went in to have the child support stopped, you should have sued her for child support. Put your hand down. As long as the child is living with you, you have the right to sue for child support against the non-custodial parent. Tap your fingers. You may not like the message, but don't kill the messenger. That's the law. Just like when your child is living with you, you sue the non-custodial parent. Just because he's a father doesn't mean you get a free ride. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $694. That's all.
Excuse, you may step out.
Pay $272 a month, doesn't even put food on my table for 2 weeks, okay? His son can eat a whole chicken.
Right now, I know she's kind of angry. She gonna probably want him back.
When he gets ready to go back for child support again, he gonna have to pay arrears. So, I mean, I ain't worried about it. I ain't gonna sweat it.
I don't know where she come with that. I got 3 boys. I take care of all 3 of them.
I had to pray and beg for him to keep the son in, okay? And the only reason he did it then is because he didn't want to pay child support.
Just paid off this time.
Participants in the game. There was some sort of a disagreement as to who had the winning hand. Defendant lost, and you claimed that in a tiff, when he left, he damaged your car. He says he didn't do it. How do you know him?
He is just a friend of a friend, and he was invited to my house by our mutual friend.
Do you have a regular poker game that goes on in your house?
No, it was just for fun.
How many people were there?
6.
Men or women?
There were 2 women and 4 men.
How many of the men did you know?
3 of them.
He was the only one you didn't know?
Correct.
What about the other woman?
She's my witness, Tristan.
So tell me what happened.
Well, it was August 27th, 2004, and we just had a gathering at my house of friends, and he came with our friend Robert, and I had no reservations about it. I was okay with that. And I think he had been drinking before he came over, but I still wasn't really concerned. He decided to participate in our game, and it had gone on for a good couple hours with no problems. We were all just hanging out having fun, no problems at all. And then when he had thought he won a hand and there was some questions about it, he kind of got defensive and aggressive when we tried to tell him otherwise. And he got angry at us, and he started calling names and pushing people and getting up and getting violent.
So what happened next?
Well, we tried to break it up. He tried to fight my boyfriend. He was calling names. He picked up a bike and actually threw it across the deck and bruised my friend's arm. I have a picture.
Did you do that?
No, ma'am.
Why would she make up such a story?
I don't know. I can't
Did you
really
lose a hand in
speculate.
poker?
No, ma'am. I still remember the hand.
Well, was there some sort of a dispute as to whether you won?
Yes, ma'am.
So you won the game,
Yes, ma'am.
and then they told you you lost the game and couldn't take the money.
Actually, her boyfriend had agreed that I won, and then she jumped in the middle, tried to read his cards, said, "No, you won, look at your hand." He looked, and then he agreed, tried to take the money. But he already called the wrong hand. He called a hand lower than mine. I started taking the money down. He kept trying to argue with me. She kept jumping in the middle. I admit I did call her, but it wasn't really directed towards her. It was like, I don't want to hear what any have to say when 2 men are playing the game. It's our money. It's our game. No one else is in the game.
The women weren't playing?
No, they already lost.
Sorry.
They already lost all their money. So there's only 3
But the
people
women
left.
had been playing,
Yes, ma'am.
and you did play with the women.
Yes, ma'am.
So it wasn't as if you don't want to play with women, that it wasn't just a man's game.
No. We were all playing. They lost. There were 3 of us left.
And nothing happened with the bicycle.
No, there was a bike in the way, but I was getting pulled out of their house, and I bumped into a bike. I never picked a bike up, threw it, or anything like that.
Okay, then according to you, Miss Hunting, Mr. Rodriguez damaged your car when he left. How did he damage your car?
He damaged 2 vehicles. He was inside, and it took a good 15 minutes to get him calmed down. We were trying to calm him down. He wouldn't calm down, so he was physically removed from my house.
How was he physically removed?
By our friend Robert.
Is that right?
Yeah, he escorted me out of the house.
He pulled you out?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't want to leave?
No, her boyfriend had tried to start a fight with me, so I stood up. We were going to fight, and then he didn't want to fight. And then Mom came in, said, we're going to call the police. Told her to call the police, you know. They're trying to rob me of my money.
So you still felt as if you were owed that money
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
pot. So you didn't want to leave without your money.
No, ma'am.
So you were pulled out by Robert.
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened when you were pulled out, Mr. Rodriguez?
Well, he pulled me out, but right before the door closed, I said, look, you know, I'll leave, but I want my money, at least the money I put into the pot in the beginning. They went and got my money. He gave it to me. He walked to his car and got in and left.
Who walked to the car?
Me and Robert.
Robert was the one who had brought you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was a friend of yours?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he still a friend of yours?
Yeah.
You see him?
Yeah. He lives on the same street, so yeah, we see
Good.
each other.
And you claim that he damaged cars when he left. Do you have any witness? Did you see him do that?
I actually have Robert here as a witness.
Really? Bring him in. And Robert is your friend?
Yes, ma'am.
So Robert wouldn't lie for her?
I can't speak on that. He's intimate with her friends, so a lot of people do a lot of things when they're with somebody.
I don't think that's important.
Swear the witness, please.
Raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear to tell the truth in these matters?
Yes, I do.
State your name for the record, please.
Robert Silva.
Mr. Silva, Mr. Rodriguez says that you're a friend of his. Is that right?
That's correct.
How long have you known him?
About 15, 16 years.
You invited him to a party on the 27th of August at Miss Hunting's home. Is that right?
Yes.
You were playing poker?
Yes.
And there was some sort of a dispute over a winning hand. We're getting past that. Did you see an incident involving Mr. Rodriguez and a bicycle?
No.
Didn't see him pick up or toss a bicycle?
No.
Did you remove him from the house?
We walked out together.
You didn't pull him out of the house?
Pull, no. I was just, he wasn't done talking, and I think we were done talking, so I said it was time to go.
Now, when he left the house, can you describe what happened, sir?
I told him to leave, and I went to go close the door.
Look at me when you're talking.
And on the way out, I seen him kick Amber's car on the way out.
How many cars did you see him kick?
I only seen him kick Amber's car.
Did you say anything to him when you finally caught up to him?
No.
You didn't say, why did you kick Amber's car?
It's too late. It doesn't matter why. I couldn't stop it.
Oh, no. That's their witness. They say
That's their witness, sir, but you're a friend for 17 years.
Oh, yes, ma'am. But it just seems fugazi to me because...
What?
It seems a little funny to me because they said I threw a bicycle. He didn't see it.
No, he didn't see that.
I kicked 2 cars, and he only seen me kick 1. Oh, no. The story seems wrong.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Just want to make sure that you think I'm fair. Not that it's really important to me what you think, but I want you to start doing a little thinking.
And later today...
Were you annoyed that she went back to her husband?
No, Your Honor.
Well, then if you weren't annoyed, why don't you do the right thing?
Yes, you say lack of communication.
Lack of character is more like it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Amber Hunting says acquaintance Daniel Rodriguez vandalized 2 of her cars after an argument over a poker game. Amber has produced a surprise eyewitness.
Did you call the police immediately?
As soon as I saw the damage to the vehicles, I went inside.
Was that the same day, the 27th of August?
Yes.
Can I see the police report, please? How old are you, Miss Hunting?
21.
You live at home with your folks?
With my mother.
And this is your mom?
Yes.
Who, if I called her as a witness, would testify about a lot of bad language that she heard, and she said she was going to call the police, correct?
Correct.
You have photographs of the vehicles?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them, please. Well, the detective who responded saw the following, Mr. Rodriguez. He saw the damage to the cars. The issue is really, was this old damage, new damage? But let me tell you what the police officer wrote. Second vehicle, 1997 Ford Escort, belonged to Amber's mother, Doreen Hunting. I noticed a circular dent near the driver's side door and chipped paint around the dent. I located several pieces of the chipped paint on the ground, directly below the dent on the door. So you know what that suggests to me, Mr. Rodriguez?
New damage.
Very smart. Now, who do you think had a motive to be angry that night?
I did.
And whose dear friend who invited them to this party says it was you who caused the damage?
Mine.
Mr. Rodriguez, if you were sitting in my place, would you think that I caused the damage?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Just want to make sure that you think I'm fair.
But
Not
I'd
that
also
it's,
would
not
think
that it's
that-
really important to me what you think, but I want you to start doing a little thinking. What are the estimates to fix these two dents?
$1,893.
Together.
Yes.
That's a bargain. So not only didn't you win, sir, at poker that night, but your temper is going to cost you $1,893. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think it was drunkenness and nobody was really listening to each other, and emotions run high when drinking is involved.
There were a bunch of people playing a game of poker who were too drunk to know how to really play.
It wasn't that big of a deal until my vehicles were damaged.
They were talking, wanted to call the police, wanted to fight.
He was my friend's friend. I didn't think it was necessary. I had hoped that he would calm down.
Told him to call the police. I thought it was a good idea.
I just wanted to handle it right and take care of it, but he denied it.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
It's no big deal, you know. I've known him 15 years. It's just one night.
Thank you for showing up and taking care of everything, and I'm glad everything.
The count manager, Lisa Kerr, is suing her ex-boyfriend, Private Eye Gary Guthrie, for a loan to buy a spy cell phone. Gary says the spy equipment was a gift.
Ms. Kerr, who is this?
This is my witness, my friend Lindsay.
Mr. Guthrie, who is this?
This is my brother Adam in witness.
This is the situation as I understand it. You and Mr. Guthrie dated briefly. Was it a time he was separated from your husband?
Yes, ma'am.
And for some strange reason, according to you, Mr. Guthrie, who needed some spy equipment, that's your business, you're in security, surveillance, and you agreed to put it on your credit card, this piece of equipment that he saw that he liked. And you did. According to you, he said he was going to pay for it. The piece of equipment came, you and Mr. Guthrie no longer an item. Mr. Guthrie says that the spy equipment doesn't work.
Correct.
So he's not paying for it, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
If it worked, were you going to pay for it?
Well,
Well is not an answer, Mr. Guthrie.
Well, I
If it
assumed
worked,
it was
listen to me very carefully, sir. If it worked, were you going to pay for it? Just a second. The questions get harder. What's your first name?
Gary.
Gary? Listen to me, Gary. Try not to play with me, sir, otherwise you're going to look like an idiot. If it worked, were you going to pay for it?
Yes, Your Honor.
That wasn't hard, was it, Gary?
No.
Did you actually think you were going to come here and make a fool out of me?
No.
So it didn't work. And you told the plaintiff it didn't work, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so the company said, send it back to us, and while you're not going to get your money back, you can buy additional merchandise.
Or switch it out for another one that might work if it
Or
came.
switch it out.
Yes, ma'am.
And you understood that, right, Gary?
Yes, Your Honor.
See how mellow Gary is getting now? Gary gets it now. Because in Gary's answer, he thought he was being a wise guy, and he told me first it was a gift from her, that she bought him a gift. And then she changed her mind because she went back to her husband and they got this big bill, and that's why she's probably coming after him. That didn't ring true to me. So that's why I asked Gary if he was intending to pay her back for it if it worked. You understand, Gary? Then you bring along genius with you over here. Because the idea was, according to you, and you agree, that you were told to pack up the old equipment and send it back to the company. And you brought her over the box.
No, I didn't actually bring the box.
How did she get the box?
Through my brother.
He brought her the box.
Yes.
And she paid for sending it back.
That's correct.
Not you. She paid for sending it back. Now, genius, you can stand up.
Lisa Kerr says ex-boyfriend Gary Guthrie owes for a loan to buy a spy phone. Gary claims the phone was broken and he tried to return it.
You got a first name?
Adam.
You didn't pack up the spy equipment, did you, Adam?
I was told
Is not an answer.
I did pack up the equipment,
You did?
but I grabbed the wrong device, apparently.
What does that mean, genius?
When I gave it to Lisa and she'd shipped it off, they could tell her it was the wrong device. But I did not know because my brother was out of town. It was a phone call that told me to pack up the device.
What did you tell your brother to do?
I told him to grab my cell phone and pack it up to get to her.
Your cell phone? Well, that's not a spy piece of equipment that costs $3,400.
Well, if you've seen my other cell phones, you'd understand that I have a lot of cell phones, and all my cell phones are pretty high-tech.
I somehow think, Adam, that this was a little scammy-whammy that was going on here, kids. You sent back the wrong thing. Did you send back the wrong thing?
Yes, by accident.
Ultimately, you found the device and it had not been sent back, right?
Correct.
When you found the device that had not been sent back, what was the first thing you did?
Well, I told her I obviously must.
So the first thing you did was call her?
I tried to attempt to. I wasn't able to get in touch with her.
So you did call her?
Yes, once I found out it was the wrong device.
Well, then I want to know, what date did you find out it was the wrong device?
Mid-December, somewhere in the middle of December.
And when did you find out that they didn't receive the device?
It was right around December the 18th or 20th.
And when did Mr. Guthrie call you?
I actually never spoke with him about that until I had left to go on Christmas vacation, and I ended up breaking my leg. So I was out of commission for a few months, and I finally got a hold of him again in March.
So between December, when he found out that he did not give you the right piece of equipment, and March, are you telling me he never called you?
Not that I spoke with him, and not a message that I got from him, no.
So he never called?
No, ma'am.
As far as you know, he never called?
Right.
What did you do with the piece of equipment, Gary?
Well, come mid-April, we were fishing, and I was trying to get the device to work, which is the whole issue, how it didn't work. And out of frustration, it actually ended up in the lake.
So, Gary, who do you think ought to pay for this piece of equipment?
Well, my assumption, seeing that she didn't call me back for that period of time.
Didn't call you back? Did you send her a letter?
I didn't send a certified letter, Your Honor, no.
Did you send her back the piece of equipment and say, I'm sorry, my idiot brother made a mistake? The answer is no. The answer is you took the piece of equipment and you threw it in the lake. It's according to you. I don't know whether I believe you or not, but that's according to you. When did you throw it in the lake, Gary?
Let's see, April, mid-April.
So you could have done a lot of things. The first thing that you could have done was try her once on the phone, if I believe that. You couldn't get her in. So you packed the piece of equipment up and say, I'm sorry, this was a big mistake. That's in December. I'm going to bear the burden of sending it back to the company. I don't want you to send it back for another $70 because my brother doesn't know whether he's a foot or horseback, right? You chose not to do that, Gary. Were you annoyed that she went back to her husband? Huh?
No, Your Honor.
Well, then if you weren't annoyed that she went back to her husband, why don't you do the right thing?
I guess you'd say lack of communication.
Lack of character is more like it. How much was it?
The original purchase was $3,035. The other items that he chose to replace it came to an additional $223. They wouldn't send me a return authorization.
Just a second, you mean you bought other stuff, Gary? Gary! Did you buy other stuff? You bought another $223 worth of stuff?
I was trying to exchange, yes.
You were trying to exchange it for the wrong piece of equipment that your brother sent back.
Something that actually worked.
Just a second. You bought some other stuff despite the fact that your brother sent back a bad cell phone instead of this piece of spy equipment.
I wasn't aware that he'd done that, Your Honor.
Well, did you send back the other stuff that you purchased for $223?
I never received it.
We never received it because we had to give them the list of the items that we wanted in replace of it. After we gave them that list, they gave us the return authorization. Once they received the phone, they were going to send the items. Well, they never received the phone.
So they never sent the items. Why? Then you shouldn't be charged for them.
But I have the email where it says we have to charge your card prior to even giving you the return
Then you
authorization.
have to call them and say you never sent those items. Do you understand? I'm not charging you for those. That you take up with the company. They never sent you the merchandise. They can't charge you.
I have done that. It's a company in Thailand. It's really the only way I can communicate with them is through email.
Well, then I would suggest that you be smarter next time and not deal with a company in Thailand and not deal with Gary.
Understood.
And his brother. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,035. That's all.
How is that excused and they step out?
Well, I wasn't really catching any fish that day and was kind of frustrated.
I got one of my mistakes swept under the carpet.
You get angry, and while you're fishing, you just get rid of things that don't work, you know.
I wasn't there. I have no idea. All I knew was that they received the wrong phone back.
Maybe your husband has seen the item and wasn't too happy.
Honestly, my husband and I decided to work things out, and that was the most important thing.
One of those things like a fish. You got throwbacks and you got keepers, and obviously not a keeper.
Thank you very much for serving justice.
Injury. You had substantial dental bills. You still have some work that has to be done. You want to be compensated for the assault. Mr. Tomaselli says that you started it, he finished it, and you were unruly. You touched him first, and he acted in self-defense. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. What is your name?
Amber Trill.
This is the lovely Amber. Sit down, Amber. I'm not with you yet, but I will be. When did this happen, Mr. Valentine?
If I could recall the exact date, it would be
The questions
April
are going to
3rd.
get harder. Listen to me, Mr. Valentine. The questions are going to get harder. The date should be something that's fixed in your memory.
The night of April 3rd, 2004.
See, we're not going to play with each other. The only one that has a good time here is me. And you and the lovely Miss Amber were at a party together?
Yes.
Whose party was it?
Kind of my party, a going-away party.
Going from where to where, Mr. Valentine?
I am from New Mexico, so I was visiting. I do live in Seattle right now.
And in whose house was the party?
It was kind of an office building that they renovated into a music venue.
And how did Amber get to the party?
On her own, driving.
You don't know how she got there?
No.
Was she a friend of yours before April 3rd of 2004?
Yeah, we've known each other for about 3 years.
But you did not know Mr. Tomaselli?
I did not know.
All right, so give me your version, please, of what happened on the evening of April 3rd.
It was going well. The music was going. I did notice Ed and his friends hanging out at the party earlier. I didn't.
Mr. Valentine,
I'm sorry.
could you try to focus on me, sir? Focus on me. Not up in the air, not in the heavens, not at your shoes. Try to focus on me. So when you're thinking, you can think and look at me at the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
To my left, Amber was standing in the corner, talking with some friends. We gave each other a hug. We ended up talking for about another 5 minutes. Finished, continuing going into the hallway where Ed was standing. She said, "Oh, hi, Ed. This is my friend PJ." "Hi, Ed." And instead of extending his hand out to greet me, he just cocked back and punched me in the face. And at that point, I started bleeding. I stepped back and exited, went to my car because I'm bleeding. I didn't want to fight. I just went, it's my party.
How come you didn't call the police?
Because he had left already. Sure, I could call.
How do you know he left already if you went to your car?
Because Amber dragged him out, and I noticed this while I was leaving.
Okay, Mr. Tomaselli, now let's hear your version of the events.
On this night, I'd gone to the party. I was with my friends.
How did you get to the party?
I had taken Amber out for a couple of cocktails earlier, and while we were having cocktails, I don't drink, but Miss Triolo was. She said she was going to a party she was going to bartend at. Would you like to go? I said, sure. We're going to hook up, go to this party, hopefully go home later to my house. Maybe not. We weren't an item at that time.
Could we? Listen, I'm not interested in the potential romance.
Okay, but this is how I got...
I'm just interested in how you got this. So you knew her before.
Yes, Your Honor.
How long had you known Amber?
About a year and a half.
Had you dated?
Yes, Your Honor.
You dated exclusively or just off and on?
Off and on.
All right. So you saw her on the evening of April 3rd. You had a couple of drinks with her, and then she invited you to come to this party.
I did not drink, Your Honor. I don't drink. I haven't drank in years. I'm a wrestler, athlete, professional athlete.
Okay.
I didn't drink. So I went to this party. Amber was already there. We were standing in a circle.
Who was we?
Me, my friends, and Amber.
Could you look at me when
Mr. Valentine came in from outside, started snuggling up next to Amber. Amber introduced us all. I said, that's messed up, because they were snuggling. I thought I was going to be with Amber, so I walked away. When I was walking away, Mr. Valentine came up behind me, pursued me down this hallway, and said, what's up, dog? Okay, he did not put his hand out. He had his hand clenched, and he reached out to me. Through my experience...
How did you see that, sir, if you were walking away and he was behind you?
I was in the hallway where I turned around to see what was going on. I walked through the hallway. There was a lot of people. I turned around to see where my buddies were, and Mr. Valentine was behind me.
Yes.
He put his hand on my shoulder, said, what's up, dog?
How did he put his hand on your shoulder?
Reached out towards me.
Touched your shoulder.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
At that time, I turned around and said, I'm not your dog. And yes, I did hit him. Through my experience and expertise, I know when someone comes up behind you and says, "What's up, dog?" he has bad intentions. A man this size has the potential of hurting me, someone my size, very badly.
All right, Amber, front and center. You and Mrs. Tomaselli were out earlier that evening?
Yes.
Mr. Tomaselli did not drink?
No.
You got to the party? You went with him?
No.
You went in your own car?
I believe so, yes.
Try getting it more specific than that. Did
Yeah,
you go in
I
your own
drove.
car or did you go with Mr. Tomaselli?
No, I drove.
So you met there?
Yes.
Why do I feel as if I'm telling the story by myself? These are not trick questions. They may get harder, but right now they're not trick questions, Amber. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You were present at the time that Mr. Valentine was struck in the mouth?
Yes.
Tell me how that happened. Try looking at me when you tell me how that happened.
We were talking, Patrick and I, and Mr. Tomaselli walked up and I said, "Hey Ed, how's it going?" You know, I gave him a hug, told him hi. And I introduced him to PJ, and instead of them meeting each other, he just socked him in the face.
Why would he do that?
Jealousy.
He wasn't drunk or anything, right?
No.
He was clearly angry because he said, "Hey, that's messed up." Right, Mr. Tomaselli?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, who are you?
My name's Kyle McElroy.
Kyle, you were there that day.
I was there that evening.
Good. And I know that you're dying to tell me your version of these events, aren't you, Kyle?
I can't wait.
Well, then just step up here, Kyle. Kyle, how old are you?
I'm 21.
How long have you known Mr. Tomaselli?
I knew none of the parties that night.
How'd you get to this party?
Through a friend of mine. It's a Wednesday night kegger that, as far as I knew, it was like a deal that they had every Wednesday.
Wednesday night, the West Wing is on. Why would anybody want to go to a kegger?
So, would you like me to tell
I
my story?
would.
Okay. Like he said, we were standing there talking. Amber, we were sitting there talking to Amber. This guy walked up. We were introduced. We were standing there. Then Ed got, frustrated, decided to...
Just a minute. I'm going to ask you to speculate. Why did Ed get frustrated?
Well, like you say, the girl he thought he was coming to meet at the party was...
Canoodling.
So...
with somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I saw Ed walking away. The guy kind of came up behind him and kind of turned his shoulder. "What's up, dog?" Ed said, "I'm not your dog."
Well, you just did something. You said, "What's up, dog?" And then you did something like extend your hand.
But kind of, yeah, well...
What does that mean?
Well, like I said...
Touched him on his shoulder, right?
Yeah. Ed took it as a threat, obviously. Punched the guy.
Sit down.
Thank you.
You too. Mr. Tomaselli, you're clearly a very powerful young man. You are proficient in the martial arts.
Yes, Your Honor.
One of the things that they teach you, because I know I have grandchildren who take these martial art classes, is you're supposed to be able to control yourself, Mr. Tomaselli, right?
Yes,
it's all
Your Honor.
about control, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't think you controlled yourself well that night, Mr. Tomaselli. I think you got very angry. You can't even make an excuse that you had something to drink, but you hurt him badly. And there was no aggression on his part, not even according to your witness. He was probably stupid drunk, but he's just sort of a big goof. Mr. Tomaselli, I want you to trust me. He's really just sort of a big goof.
If you say so, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. Tomaselli, he didn't come up behind you, spin you around, and punch you. He came up, put his hand on you, and said to you, "What's up, dog?" Now, I don't know what that means, and I may be out of things. My children are older than Officer Byrd's children. Do you know what "what's up, dog" means? What does it mean?
How you doing, man?
How you doing? That's what it would seem to me to mean. What's up, dog? It's not necessarily a term of endearment, but it's not, choose your weapons. We're going to, we're going to joust.
Not from my mouth, at least.
Oh, you're just a big doughboy. He's you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Not a bad guy. Let me see your dental bills, Mr. Valentine.
The first occurred is
for the infection, I got all puffed up and in pain. I couldn't sleep for 3 days, and
you're right.
That I had to get antibiotics, painkillers, so I could finally sleep and go back to work.
Which tooth was it? The tooth that's missing?
Yeah.
That one? You need an implant there?
I still need to get my implant.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
Where did you pick Mr. Holloway up?
Commerce Casino.
Who else was with him?
2 other gentlemen, like young, like 2 20-year-olds or something like that.
Maybe that's what you were fighting with your fiancé about.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Patrick Wallentine says fellow partygoer Ed Tomaselli punched him in the mouth. Ed says Patrick was too friendly with his date.
What do you do for a living?
I do a lot of things, but right now
What you just said, what's your favorite thing?
My favorite?
Yeah. You know, you do a lot of things, though. Tell me what your favorite,
My
what
favorite
your fave is.
is to sing and host people, kind of like parties.
This is so painful.
That's my favorite thing. But right now, I do have a painting business and a construction business that I work for. So but I can do anything.
Can't put in an implant.
I can't.
See what I mean? Mr. Tomaselli.
Yes, Your Honor.
Harmless. You misjudged his intent. Put your hand down.
Sorry.
All right. He's a lover, not a fighter. Do you know what I mean? He didn't want to hurt you. And you overreacted because you were angry. And you have to pay for that. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Ed didn't tell the truth. I did not touch him.
It was a tombstone, flying ruckus, left.
I fell back, and that's all, and I walked out.
Went down like everybody.
Maybe he's been choked a couple times, can't really remember it quite straight.
When they step up to the plate.
The next case.
All parties in the matter of Soyak versus Holloway. Step forward, please.
Limousine driver James Soyak is suing former client, business owner Tim Holloway, for an unpaid hotel bill. James says Tim is a scammer.
Mr. Holloway, how old are you, sir?
33.
What kind of work do you do, sir?
I have a maintenance company.
How long have you had it?
My dad had it since '59. I took it over about 3 years ago.
He's no longer involved in the business.
Sometimes, yeah.
So he still goes into the office?
Correct.
On a daily basis?
2 or 3 times a week.
Are you making this up as we're going along, sir?
No.
Are you trying to give me accurate answers? Because you never can tell why I'm asking you these questions.
Correct.
Now, do you live alone or do you live with someone else?
I live with my fiance.
Did you move into her place or did you move in someplace together?
Together.
When?
2 years ago.
What's the address?
North Wilson.
How large an apartment is it?
It's a condo. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths.
Are you renting or did you buy it?
We're renting that.
Are you both on the lease?
Yes.
It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Now, Mr. Soyak, you drive a limousine.
Yes, ma'am.
And your complaint is that you drove Mr. Holloway in your limousine to a casino, hotel.
Yes.
And he told you that he'd forgotten his wallet and he needed a hotel room. So you agreed to put the hotel room on your credit card.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not true.
He used the room and then stiffed you for the reimbursement.
I rented 2 rooms for him, $99 each.
In addition, he didn't have his wallet, so he said he needed some money. You gave him cash. He gave you a check.
Yes, ma'am.
For $300. The check bounced.
Yes.
That's not true.
What's not true, sir?
The room. Now the check.
Let's talk about the check.
Okay.
Let me hear.
I gave him a check. Me and my fiance was having problems at the house. I couldn't get to what I need to get to the bank. I owe him for the $300, but the hotel room, it never happened.
Okay. Now, Mr. Holloway, your last paragraph of your answer, which you swore to, sir, says, I did give him a check for $300, which was returned. I explained that I had just moved and was having problems with my bank account.
I did just move.
No, just a second. I explained that I had just moved.
Same thing I just said.
No. That's not. Mr. Holloway, let me understand something, sir. No more than 5 minutes ago, I said to you, where do you live? You gave me the address. Who do you live with? I live with my fiancé. How long have you lived there in the condo? 2 years. Did you sign a lease? Yes.
That's what I said. But I just moved. If we was having problems, evidently I had to leave because we was having problems. So I did leave. Now when we reconciled, that's one thing. But I did leave. So what I told you is the truth.
Can I see the bills for the 2 rooms, please? Mr. Soyak, how long have you been driving a limousine?
10 years.
Okay. You ever had this kind of trouble?
Never.
Mr. Soyak, let me explain something to you. Don't be an idiot. You don't take out your credit card, allow somebody to put money on your credit card. You don't take checks from people you don't know.
You're absolutely right.
Good. Can I have it, please? The rooms you rented for $99, but he certainly did a lot more damage than the $99.
He drank everything in the bar. Plus movies, plus phone calls.
I never went in the room.
Okay. You owe him a whole bunch of money, sir. You owe him for these 2 hotel rooms. Who else was with you? Who else was with him, Mr. Soyak?
He found a couple of young gentlemen. They were walking the street while we were in Old Town Pasadena, and he claimed he's a music producer. And I don't know how he knew these guys can sing, but he made friends with them and invited them later to be picked up in the car, and we drove them also to the Commerce Casino. He didn't want the other two men to sleep in the same room as him, so he wanted me to get a separate room for them.
That's a lie. That never happened.
It's not a lie because I have my witnesses
Mr. Holloway,
here.
Mr. Holloway.
I have my witnesses here. My other driver that picked him up Sunday.
So you dropped him off and somebody else picked him up?
Yes.
Who picked him up?
Richard. He's my co-driver.
Step up, sir. Your last name?
Thompson.
Where did you pick Mr. Holloway up?
Commerce Casino.
Who else was with him?
2 other gentlemen, like young, like 2 20-year-olds or something like that.
Maybe that's what you were fighting with your fiancé about. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,113. That's all. Step out.
Thank you. I trust Judy. She's got a keen sense of what's going on.
I didn't sign for any room. My name wasn't on the room.
I was driving him for about 4 days. He introduced me to his friends, his family.
If he's driving, I always introduce people. That's just me.
This will never happen again. This is a very good lesson for me.